Greetings. Today I want to speak to you concerning how SEX is wealth, sacred energy exchange. That is wealth. Now, when you understand what lies at the base of your spine and it runs right up to the back of your neck and spiral all the way up to the crown of your head, the place of the skull, then you will understand why sex, which is sacred energy exchange, it is wealth. Now, we're living in a world where they control your sexual powers. How were they able to accomplish that? Through religion. Which religion am I speaking about? I'm speaking about the one that I was raised to believe in. Having grown up and having been born and raised in the Caribbean, I've come to realize the enslavement that has been done to the people through colonization. And you could live all your life on this planet and never understand how colonization really works. Because it wasn't until I had my awakening that I realized how colonization really works. And so they use Christianity to control your sexuality. And in doing so, they actually make you become void of your real identity, which is your divinity. Because they get you to focus on looking outwardly instead of looking inwardly because of their theology. So, to cut a long story short, Christianity is the tool that have been used to keep black people in poverty. And that is why the things that are happening in the world today, it is because Christianity is losing its grip on the masses. So they start protesting in England and other places against Muslims and melanated people, black people. And they're doing it in a very diplomatic way that you wouldn't really realize that is what is going on. But all in all religion is to keep you from knowing that you're living in a world of SEX. Because your inhalation and your exhalation itself is SEX. Yeah, it is sacred energy exchange. You see, you're a breath of fresh air. When it says that God breathed the breath of life into man, you're God. And the breath of life is what makes you God. But you can be God asleep or God awake. So when you're God asleep, they will make you sign to a marriage certificate. And you do not understand the power of giving and receiving. You do not understand that everything is basically an investment, is a business. Okay, we use money as the medium of exchange on this planet. And money was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. So the exchange took place within force. And it has been done through a science that they refer to as alchemy. But if you look deeply, you will see that same science in nature. For the sun, the sun, it shines upon all of nature and all of humanity. And it gives all of nature and humanity its energy. Well, if you understand that the sun parallels the human imagination parallels the sun, then you would realize that without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. The sun is the giver of our light and our life. And they brainwash you and give you a SON and tell you a man existed 2,000 years ago and that he's the light of the world and he have blonde hair and blue eyes. He's a Jewish man because they set up a Jewish nation in 1948. But when you realize that you have in you a power, and that power is what you can use to achieve your every desire, then you will understand that without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. Okay? So in the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the same was in the beginning with God. And say all things was made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. It's a personification that represents the human imagination. And the human imagination powers the Son. Therefore, the story of Jesus represents the story of the Son in you. Okay? And so your awakening is actually a sexual act that will take place at the base of your spine. Okay? And will cause you to ascend. Because, first of all, you descend into humanity to have this human experience. And you did it through death. And what is that death? It's a state of forgetfulness, a state of amnesia. Everything has been erased. And you're seeking to know who you are. Okay? So basically, we're living in a sex war. So you could think about a billionaire, a multimillionaire, a rich person, and I can show you that it goes all the way back to sex. Doesn't matter which angle you take it from. Okay? It is something they know that you don't know. It's certain things they're doing that you are not doing because you do not know. You're living in ignorance. Okay? And so it's like, if you live on this planet and, you never really experience sacred energy exchange, like having, a sexual partner, if you never had that experience and someone else have had that experience, that person who have had that experience, they can multiply and they can have a family. They could replenish the earth. And so you can replenish the earth in many different ways, from many different angles. But when you have a religious and superstitious mentality, you think sex is just to make children only. But when you know how to use the sexual energy, you'll be able to create your reality consciously. That's why I've been offering people all around the world the honey breeding technique. You see, as a little child, they teach you to say that old MacDonald had a farm, and they tell you to say E-I-E-I-O, which will go all the way back to 666, which is basically the power that you have in you. Okay, that 666 goes back to the number 9. Okay, and it represents the power that you have that you can use to achieve your every desire. It represents going to the 9 power. Well, if you just use those songs, you'll realize in the act of sex you're using that song too. Yeah. And so when I do my breathing, okay, I do it as if I'm having sex, sex. Okay, and then I would have an orgasm and I would give one great exhalation out. Okay, and then I go into my visualization and do whatever I want to do in that world, being under high level of emotion. Okay, but it's the number one breathing technique for me. And what I would do is use, first of all, the Wim Hof breathing technique just to relax me a little bit more before I go into my breathing technique. And Wim Hof is actually the ice man, but I am the sun man. Okay? And so there is always the ice people and the sun people, and the ice people have really enslaved the sun people for a very long time. Okay? And shift them away from the SUN and give them a SON. And have kept them frozen. They've been frozen, but they don't know it. Okay, but I'm here to unfreeze you. Okay, how am I gonna do that? Just to get you to think. Okay, so my brother, my sister, I can go on and on and on and on and on. But I hope you read between the lines everything that I'm trying to tell you and realize that sex could never be wrong and that marriage is a scam and that the funeral procession and all the tradition and everything that been passed down to us, they are scams. Okay, so get rid of the scams and take control of your mind because you would one day discover that you are God having a human experience. And I'm speaking from experience. Okay? So, with that being said, my brother, my sister, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me, what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it really resonates with you, and you have a subscriber already, I'm definitely encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram, you like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at Black Mad Guru. If you like to get my books, you have more than 10 books to choose from, along with my gratitude journal for him and her stating first of all in terms of affirmation. Okay, in these journals you see where I have you I am so happy and grateful now, and you fill out the rest. Okay, so you can you use these journals to help you in a spiritual journey. And my books also, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can drop my email, we can set up a one-on-one. If you want to join my Free Thinkers and Seekers University, feel free to do so. I try to post there weekly a masterclass to help you in a spiritual journey. You know, but I have so much to offer to you. So I will come to a close here and encourage you to make sure that you check out all of the links that are down below. And definitely let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. So with that being said, I just want to say peace. Love you all. Out.